Well, that fell short. Do you think scriptwriters' version of this game got lost in transit to the officials and the players tonight?
I know, right? Like, Preds, for the third straight game, fall down 2-0. Then Stamkos, in his old building, a team that he had known all his life, sets up both goals to pull the Preds back into it, and he was supposed to get the winner in the overtime or the shootout, right? It's like, what happened?
Oh, I get it. They're setting us up for the sequel, Black Friday, November 29th, when these two teams play again in Nashville. That's when Stamkos is going to have his big game against his former team.
You ever just want to get down on one knee and thank the hockey gods upstairs that Phil Forsberg is a Nashville Predator?
Hey everybody, it's Jersey Guy. Hold my beer. Are you sure you want me here? Patrick will watch anybody. Is it maybe somewhere that we owe a massive debt to the hockey gods?
Again and again and again.
Feel like a kid again, Johnny. Is happening? Is this happening? Is this happening? This isn't an ad for some dang cookie. I want a piece of that action. Well, you don't have to tell me twice.
What do you have to tell me that is going to make me feel positive? And
Maybe the Titans won't let us down on Thursday.
Preds, walk it off!
Okay, on with Johnny's reaction video.
Redemption take you home.
Preds lose 3-2 in overtime Monday night against the Tampa Bay Lightning in Amalie Arena in Tampa Bay, Florida. Steven Stamkos returns home to the only team he had ever known since being drafted by them first overall in 2008, leading up to last year in free agency when they decided not to resign him. You know, I heard some people saying that he left. No. This was on Julien Brisebois, who decided not to give him what he thought was fair. And guess who was there with open arms and an open checkbook to welcome him to Smashville? Barry Trotz. I just want to say, during the first TV timeout that we didn't go to commercial for, ESPN Plus, who was broadcasting this game, showed the nice tribute that Tampa had for their longtime captain, and I thought it was very sweet. Even though I'm not a Lightning fan, I hope Lightning fans enjoy the tribute as well as the many years with him. I know that even though he's going to spend the next 4 years in Nashville, when his career is all said and done, 91 is going to be hanging in the rafters in Amalie Arena. I know this might be hard for them because thank God Pecorino never left, because I could not stand to see 35 in another jersey for this game as a whole, because, you know, I'm not happy that they didn't win, and I'm not angry at the final result either. There's just things that the Preds have to work on, and we'll touch on those. Preds, for the third straight game, fall down 2-0 to start. This time it was all in the first period. Braden Point who made it 1-0, and then the Preds can't even get to the first intermission, only down 1-0. No, Mitchell Caffrey, under a minute left to go in the first period, on a breakaway, bad defensive breakdown by the Preds, he makes it 2-0, despite only being outshot 11-9 by the Lightning in that first period. I never really thought that the Preds were threatening the Lightning at any point. They were getting shots, but no rebounds, not challenging Vasilevsky at all. Thank God it's only 2-0 after one. First and the second period, it didn't look like the Preds got off to a great start, as Nikita Kucherov would make it 3-0 Lightning. But hold up, once again, for the second time in 3 games, Andrew Burnett wants to challenge it. Thank you, Lawrence Filoni, for letting him know that, oh yes, Toronto agrees that Kucherov didn't have full control of the puck when the puck entered the zone, much to Ray Ferraro's chagrin. Yes, I know, Ray, you don't like the offside challenge, but more times than not, it gets the call right and prevents an offside goal from being scored, no matter change of possession or what. When a puck enters the zone, it has to enter clean. So, Preds catch a break and still remain down just 2-0. And from then on, it seemed to have spurred the Preds, woken them up, because the second, third, and overtime combined, even though we can't really count overtime because they didn't get a single shot on goal, The Preds outshot the Lightning after being outworked, outshot, and everything in the first period. The rest of the way, they outshot the Lightning 28-16. This would include halfway through the second period, Ryan O'Reilly's third of the season, cutting the Lightning lead to 2-1. That was scored on the power play. The fifth in the last 6 games that the Preds have scored a power play goal. Their power play is not as high as we'd like it to be, but it's getting there. I like the progress it's making in getting at least one a game every so often. Maybe if they could string like maybe a night of 2 or 3, they can bump that power play up. And I'll get back to the scoring, but another thing that I give praise to the Preds for overall is they kept this roster, which is still pretty good, even though they swapped out Steven Stamkos for Jake Gunsel. The Lightning were 0 for 3 on the power play. The Preds' penalty kill is still pretty good, and we're 9 games in, so I think we're going to be okay. I know we'll have the time once again now and then when the Preds take a dumb penalty and it'll probably cost them, but I don't think it will be as bad as it's been in previous seasons. After the first period, Preds doing the little things right, and doing the little things right can progress and build up into doing the big things right, and after cutting into the Lightning lead, under 90 seconds left to go in the second period, you've got Steven Stamkos again. Nice pass to Gustav Nyquist. Clean cut breakaway on Andrei Vasilevsky. He makes no mistake. Beats him for his third of the season, tying this game at 2. You didn't like being down 2-0 after 1, but yeah, we'll take being tied at 2 after 40 minutes. A much more contested, even third period, even though I'd still give the slight edge to the Preds as they outshot the Lightning 14-10 in that last period before overtime, even though they weren't able to get a goal. Probably the best chance was the Lightning former captain beating Vasilevsky. Stamkos did, but he can't beat the post. Lightning had the only power play. Zachary Leroux still trying to make a name and make sure he doesn't get sent back down to Milwaukee, but the Preds teammates rally behind him, and all in all, a decent 60 minutes that still remains tied at 2, and we're going to overtime. Honestly, all in all, let's just get to what happened in overtime. After the fact, I was kind of surprised that the Preds registered 0 shots on goal because they had their looks, but I guess they just didn't actually get the shot off on Vasilevsky and test him. Because finally, with this decent, still really strong Lightning team, they eventually made the Preds pay just over 90 seconds left to go in overtime. Bad turnover by Forsberg. The man who replaced Stamkos, Jake Gunsel, sets up Nick Paul. Saros had no chance. Another game that I can't really fault him for, but Saros is looking good after a shaky start. This team overall looking a lot better. I'll get to that in the post-game wrap-up as Nick Paul, as I was saying, set up by Gunsel, beat Saros and the Lightning, walk it off in overtime by a final of 3-2. So honestly, guys, this is a game where if they had won, yes, I'd be thrilled, but a little concerned about how they started. And all in all, with how they started, I got to be happy that they at least got a point out of it. And they lost after winning 3 in a row, but they got a point out of it. They're making up for and learning from the mistakes they made through the first 5 games of the season. They're working. Brunette is doing his job of leaving lines together. He's not shaking things up too much and mixing and matching. He's letting these guys gel. If they hadn't started 0-5, this would look just like an ordinary game where, they just came up short. Would have been nice if they had gotten a win for Stamkos in his return home. Sure, but they at least got a point, and I think they're moving in the right direction. Now they have Tuesday and Wednesday off to rest up, and I didn't catch anything, but hopefully Nyquist, who looked like he went off hurt in overtime, is okay. The bigger factor is, I don't know if any of you saw the out-of-town scoreboard or anything on Twitter, the Preds' next opponent is the Oilers. The Oilers are also going to be off on Tuesday and Wednesday. guess what type of mood the Oilers are going to be when they come back to Nashville for Halloween on Thursday? They're going to be pissed because not only did they get their doors blown off on them in Columbus on Monday night 6-1, they won't have Connor McDavid with them. Sure, you don't want to wish injury upon anybody. You want to see the best team that the Oilers can provide, but I'm not going to be unhappy that he's not there to play against, giving the Preds maybe a leg up, but the rest of the Oilers lineup, they just went to the Stanley Cup final. They're going to give the Preds a hell of a test and probably going to try to step up in his place to will that team to victory. That team just beat you a week ago in your barn. Time to get some revenge Thursday and show this fan base that things are turning in the right direction as we're about to flip the calendar to November. And in November, Saturday, the great old Colorado Avalanche come to town. Should be a hell of a Thursday, Saturday, moving into next month. So that's it for this video. Thank you very much for watching. As always, click a like if you like this video. Click subscribe if you really like it. You can find my social media where you can interact with me during every Preds game by clicking on a channel name. Tell all your friends about Redemption and tell them as well that through 9 games of an 82-game season, that's a pretty good sample size to start off with. That after a rocky start, I think the Preds are starting to figure things out, and for the long run, I think they're going to be okay.